Hey everybody, welcome to the Rhizocast. Today I'm going to be looking at Marvel Fanfare number 6. So my understanding is Marvel Fanfare in general started that they had a bunch of stories that they would have on hand in case they couldn't meet deadline, and they decided to start publishing them. And then it grew from that into kind of higher level creators at getting higher level pay and stuff like that. It was printed on better paper. It cost $1.25 at a time when most comics, I think, were 65 cents, so it was significantly pricier. This issue is inked by P. Craig Russell, who I loved from Killraven, and he also did Elric for Pacific Comics, and he did some other books too. He at the time, I think, was pretty highly regarded as one of the best inkers around. Anyway, we'll take a look at it, and you'll see the the first story is the reason to get this issue. But in my experience, all the issues of Marvel Fanfare, if you see them for $1, they're probably worth picking up. Um, if you see them for $5 and you're used to paying $5 for comics, also generally worth picking up. Anyway, so as you can tell, Spider-Man Scarlet Witch story. It starts off, so the front matter here is Al Milgrom doing a piece that coincides with this piece on the back. So this piece on the back here is Jim Shooter saying, like, this is what a plot that a writer should hand in should look like. He was trying to figure out, how to get fans that are sending these things in to send in things that actually were readable and made sense. Jim Shooter just passed away recently, but I do think he's a figure that a lot of people have some animosity towards. I've always admired him and thought that he was trying to help people make better comics, and that starts with showing people how to get into comics. So that's what he did, and then Al Milgrom's like, oh, he's doing a piece about writing, let me do a piece about drawing. And then it ends with Jim Shooter, who is notoriously tall, yelling at Al Milgrom about that he didn't do the assignment properly, that this was supposed to be a text piece about how to draw. Anyway, so that's taken care of. So we got Mike Barr and Sandy Plunkett as writer, plotters, and pencilers. And then right here, P. Craig Russell on the inks. And as I said, like, the inks are beautiful on here. The words are a little bit purple prose, overridden, but I like it. It works great. And so here's this guy. He's an evil wizard. Spider-Man and Doctor Strange beat him in an issue of Marvel Team Up a few years before this. And so this is kind of a continuation of that story. So he starts off, he's looking at Spider-Man. He wants to get vengeance on Spider-Man, and he's like, how can I do it? And then he sees Scarlet Witch hanging out on the beach. And interesting to me, they keep referring to her as Miss Frank, which I never knew her having Frank as her last name. I always knew her as Maximoff or whatever. But there's esoteric things that that'll be like, it'll be a fact for 5 years in Marvel Comics, and then it's like it never existed before or after. So I think her being Miss Frank is maybe in that. But the art's great. I love it when they, like in Marvel Fanfare and some of the other books, they would do a lot with this where it's like they're out of costume, which is cool. Like, it's just hanging out at the beach. And then this evil wizard comes, tries to use her hex powers, but they don't work, and he kidnaps her. Spider-Man's hanging out in New York. He sees a Scarlet Witch. He's like, hey, what's up? And this is Scarlet Witch's body, but Scarlet Witch is not in there. And this guy uses Scarlet Witch to cast Spider-Man to this other dimension. And this dimension looks awesome. A little later than this, Hulk is trapped in this universe. Usually this universe is associated with Doctor Strange, where there's portals to other dimensions and all these things. And he runs into this lady who's like, help me. And he's like, do I know you? And she's like, I'm Scarlet Witch. And he's like, no, you're not. And he has to take her to see her reflection in the water. And then she realizes she's in somebody else's body. And he realizes that he recognizes the body. And that's from the issue of Marvel Team Up a few issues earlier. And so then we get to the plot. This guy is married to this woman who died, and he's been able to keep her body alive. But her soul has passed, and he realizes that he has to get a new soul into her body, and he thinks that Scarlet Witch's soul is a good one to get in there, so he gets Scarlet Witch in there, and surprise, it doesn't make Scarlet Witch love him, and then he takes over Scarlet Witch's body in the regular world to help cast his vengeance on Spider-Man. And monsters look cool, and we're seeing Spider-Man fight some monsters. The art is so cool, and the panel flow is great, really readable. And also this is printed on the better paper. This is printed on the Baxter paper in that era, and it looks great. And we're keeping on moving. I like this. So here, this panel is the cover. So often in comics, the cover never happens. So it's cool to me when it does, and that Scarlet Witch has defeated Spider-Man. But then the soul of his wife or whatever comes and is like, this isn't cool, you shouldn't be doing this. And she basically is taking back over her own body so that she can get everybody back to Earth. This guy, he doesn't want to go back to Earth because he rules in this dimension, and on Earth he's just a regular person. And so they go ahead, the three of them go back to Earth, and he's essentially left in hell, that he's no longer a god in that dimension. And that's the end of that story. Then we move on to the next story. Well, news letter pages, which we all miss them having letter pages in comics. It's interesting to me that in this era, everybody printed their address, which you would never do today. It's like you could just show up. I mean, I did do pen pals with some of the people who I thought wrote cool letters during the era, which I assume a lot of people do, and was part of why they did it. But like today, you'd be too scared of people showing up at your house. So this is a Doctor Strange story. There's this young, talented wizard type. He's like, I want to become the next Sorcerer Supreme, and he tries to do a thing to prove to Doctor Strange that he's more powerful than Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange decides to show him that it's not true, show him what it's really like to be a Sorcerer Supreme. And Doctor Strange fakes his own death, and then this guy gets to see what it's like to be Sorcerer Supreme, where you're constantly being challenged by other wizards, and you have to decide whether you want to kill them or not. And so that's what this is. This guy's like, I can't just kill people forever and ever. And Doctor Strange is like, okay, did you learn your lesson? I faked my death so that you could do that. I mean, this story is fine, but it definitely feels like filler, and that first story was pretty great. Anyway, good book, Marvel Fanfare. You see it for a couple bucks, I would pick it up. Definitely worth getting for the P. Craig Russell inks, if nothing else. I'll see you guys again soon.